Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Welcome to Wheel of Horror Spring into Action Edition. For the next 6 weeks, we're going to be talking action movies in addition to horror, so every Thursday there will be a new episode out pertaining to action movies. Today we're starting off with the 1988 film Die Hard, which was directed by John McTiernan. I'm your co-host Alec.
I'm Eric, and with us is our very action-y guest, I don't know how else to say it, Andrew DiMauro. Welcome to the show, an old buddy of ours.
Thanks, guys.
How you doing, Andrew?
Doing well. How you guys doing?
Good, man. Just surviving COVID, all the regular stuff. We wanted to bring you on here just, when we were growing up, I feel like we met you when we were probably like 11. You went to Pine Grove, right?
Yeah, I remember we met in, sixth grade.
Yeah, man. And then, we knew you all throughout middle school and high school and stuff. And you were such like a huge film buff, but like specifically, you were super into like war movies, I remember. Like you could quote every single line of like every war movie that like ever existed. I mean, am I wrong?
Not even war movies, dude. Andrew, I always think of you, like your photographic memory is top notch.
So I still use that to this day. I remember one time Alec specifically telling me, he's like, dude, you can remember like what the guy in the background was wearing, but you can't remember what was taught in algebra. Like I still tell people that you said that to me. I'm like, well, yeah, because it interests me.
Andrew, actually, specifically, I'll never forget one time we were watching Return of the Jedi at your house. It was like right when it came out on DVD, and you said that like Jabba's like verbatims like Utanamida, but it was like exactly what it was. And then he said it, and you're like, I haven't seen this movie in like 10 years.
It's so embarrassing, but I do remember that actually.
It's like you can tell us the first 14 minutes, every line of Ernest Scared Stupid, but you cannot tell us what the circumference of pi is or something. I don't know. Like
don't make me sound that stupid. No, I got you.
Well, let's dive into this movie. Andrew, give us your backstory with this one. Like, why Die Hard? Are you just a huge fan?
So honestly, I was gonna pick First Blood, but I was in the military and I kind of wanted to get away from that whole image in a way. So I was like, I didn't want people to be like, oh, you would pick that. So I picked Die Hard because I do like it.
I don't know. I'm trying to think the first time I saw it. I was probably like 15. I feel like I saw this kind of later. Probably. Yeah, when did you see this, Andrew?
Geez, I don't remember, honestly. I feel like it was one of those movies like way back in the day. It was on like FX, and you'd watch 10 minutes of it and get a commercial. And can't tell you, I've seen it a bunch of times, know it pretty well.
Yeah, it's a very violent movie. I feel like my parents were okay with letting me watch like horror, but when it was straight up like violent guns, they were like, maybe you should be like 16.
It's like 1980s violence. There's a lot of like over, animated like blood and people diving around and all that.
That's what I love about don't love it about 80s movies, but that grit, the same thing with like Scarface, and I think like Videodrome, we watched that pretty recently, Eric. They have this feel when the guns go off, you're like, that looks so real, especially when they shot the Japanese head of the company. When they shot him in the head, I was like, Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, did they throw Alan Rickman off the roof? It looked like it to me. It looked like it.
When they shot Mr. Takagi, it was like a freaking water balloon going off against the glass.
Yeah, it was brutal. And I do distinctly remember when he's like on his stomach shooting, and when they hits that guy's legs, I was like, yo, that looks brutal. It's just popping apart his legs. I was like, God damn, this movie is not messing around.
Yeah, I was gonna just kick it off by saying, when I think of this movie, it's a Christmas movie. Everyone always makes the joke like this is a Christmas movie. It is, in my mind. You got the Run DMC and you got the Christmas music at the end. It's a Christmas party. It should have been on our Christmas wheel, Alec. But I also think of a love story, and it's not between, his wife, his estranged wife, who they're still married, but they're separated, and him. And the movie starts with that, but like it doesn't end like that. It's a love story between the cop and John McClane, Powell. And like at the end, like he's with his wife, like leaving the building, and then he sees him, and it's like, oh, that's the love story, and it's better than Twilight, and it's hilarious, and I love it.
I knew you were gonna say
you knew that wasn't gonna last long. The wife was all upset about changing her name and getting away from John, and then she gets all PG. You want to get on this all moist in the pants once she sees how cool he is and saving everyone's lives. And I'm like, yeah, right. You're gonna go home and spend the night together, and then once you guys have your first argument, you're gonna divorce again. It ain't gonna happen. And sure enough, in the sequel, that's exactly what happened.
Is that what happened? They do break up in the sequel?
Yeah, they're not together. I know. I don't really think they referenced it in Die Hard 2, but in the third one, he's like separated again.
Okay, the only
Jeez.
thing I remember from Die Hard 2 is, like, he's on a cell phone, he's like, "What the hell is this thing?" It's like, "It's the '90s, John." Like, that's all I can
Yeah,
remember. Yeah, I mean, you're probably right, they were I mean, yeah, she changed her name, and then she's like, "It's a Japanese company." It's like, "No, you wanted this 'cause it's
What's
older."
yeah, like I think that the great idea they had in this is finding out your wife went back to her maiden name via that like
hmm
fancy touch screen. That's
yeah,
like, oh shit, that's like going to Facebook these days and being like, it's complicated. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He's like,
yeah.
I guess you didn't miss my name, except for when you're signing checks. And she's just like,
Oh.
oh,
Yeah, no, he takes a lot of digs. But, it's crazy. Bruce Willis is 33 in this movie.
Yeah, get out of here. Get
oh man,
It's insane.
Isn't that nuts? I'm like, "Oh, he's
He
probably, like, 45." It's like, "Nah, dude, he's, like, 2 years older than us." Isn't that
wow,
weird? Like
To me, he's like 50. Like in my like kid mind that I still have. But no, he's probably I would imagine he's 40. Like I'm pushing 40.
yeah.
But they say the
I
line
don't know.
he's only been a cop for 11 years. The guy's like, "Oh, I've been doing this for 9 years." And then he goes and he's like, "Relax, I'm a cop." Like on the plane, he's like, "I've been doing this for
Yeah.
11." It's like, "All right, you've been a cop for 11 years." Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, I guess so the movie does start, he's a New York cop and doesn't like flying. We're like, oh, he's like the tough guy that like doesn't like to get shots kind of thing. Like, but then he gets off the plane, goes to the Christmas party, and when he meets Argyle, the limo driver, I'm like, this is a lot of we learn a lot of information that we learn like it's Christmas. We learn that he's on the rocks with his wife from that, and he's like, you hang out in the basement or whatever. But then I want to think about what the fuck is Argyle doing for like what 5 hours?
that's service for you.
He's drinking in the back of the limo, listening to his music, and he says that whole limo is like it has TV, it has this, it has drinks, it has CD player. He's just having a me party, dude, with
I
the
know.
bear.
Yeah,
I
but
was just thinking though,
anybody in their right mind after like 2 hours would have been like, fuck this.
yeah, seriously, that's what I was thinking. Like, how does he not find the gate sooner? Be like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna go get some food. Like, this sucks. And then,
Yeah.
like, literally, or like,
The
because
my favorite scene is like when what's the cop's name? The one that he like kind of has buddy with.
Powell,
Oh,
Urkel's dad.
so
Urkel, you can
when
call
they're
him Urkel's
shooting the
dad.
crap out of his car and he's backing up in reverse, and you see it in the background through the rear window, but he's on the
yeah,
phone just like dancing, and in the back there's like a full on gunfight going on.
I
Yeah,
know. Now you'd be like, oh, he's probably like on the internet or whatever, like, DMing chicks. But back then, it's like, all right, he has to entertain himself by just getting like shit faced at the bar, listening to the same Run DMC tape. And
He's
it's
loving
been
it
like,
though.
dude, simpler
He's calling his
times.
old lady. He's like, there's that one scene where he's like, "Of course I'm coming over, baby. Have I ever lied to you?"
yeah. I know he's like, but
My boss thinks I'm in Vegas.
yeah,
Or
Yeah,
like,
yeah. You see how like high strung John is because he gets in the front of the limo and he grabs his lunch. He's like, "Oh man, I thought you were gonna sit in the back."
yeah. And he treats him like such. He's like, you don't stop asking questions, do you? Like
yo,
he
that
genuinely
scene's it's a little forward of Argyle to be like, so let me get this straight. Your wife leaves you for a job that you thought she'd come right back to, and you just thought, why do I need to pack up? And he's like, you're quick, Argyle. And then
Yeah.
after you find out your kids don't love you, it's like, all right, Argyle, like,
Hey, he's like, "Am
slow
I right?
down.
Am I right?"
It's like, you're quick, Argyle. It's like, all right. And then you go back to thinking about your family and your past. It's like, okay, Argyle, stop. You're like really messing with me, dude. Like,
Well, no, I mean, that
Personality.
scene is all about, like, setting the stage. I mean, that's
oh
all
yeah.
it is, yeah.
Well, dude, this movie is like it's the golden standard to action movies because the action kicks off in like 15 minutes. Like
I like
Christmas
that. Yeah.
party, he's on the way. The plane's already landing. He's already picked up. Boom, boom, boom. Story's told.
Yeah.
Action. Terrorist attack in 15 minutes.
Well, it does a
Yeah,
really
I
good
love how
job
they do it too. I love how they walk in with the distraction. Like he's talking
Yep.
about, the basketball game. He's like, "Oh, he passes it back to AC, right up to Magic, and then boom, and then
boom.
they just hit the
I
security
feel
guard."
so bad for security guards being a former security guard myself. If anyone had a
Yeah.
gun and they're like, "Hey, you need to leave and don't call anybody," it's like, "Say less, fam. I'm out of here." Like,
Yeah, I don't get paid enough for
you
this.
don't have to kill me. Like, I will absolutely leave.
He's like,
Like,
"Dude, seriously, it's $15 an hour. I'm out the fucking door. Like, it's fine."
Yeah, you could have just asked me to get out of the way. I would have done that.
Yeah. No, that's a first opening shot too, where you're just like, "Wow, this violence is very realistic." He just walks up, boom, and the guy's dead. I don't know.
I
That's
like
like
that guy though, because they obviously did their research, or the guy was obviously a former employee or something, because he knew
mhm.
the whole layout and the security system. Like it's the movie, but he just starts typing up stuff, and you're like, oh, he seems like he knows what he's doing.
oh,
I like that he whistles while he works too. He's like that
Yeah,
really
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. It's like he
oh, yeah.
knows exactly like what to do.
Yeah, what he says too, he's just like, "Do you know how to get in there?" He's like, "You didn't bring me along for my charming personality." It's just like, "Oh, this
Hmm.
motherfucker." He's like
wise ass tech
yeah.
guy.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah, there's so many nice
Yeah.
little side characters in this. Like, everybody kinda has their moment to shine. So it's yeah, it's really cool. Have you guys ever played, like, the Metal Gear Solid series at all?
Oh, I played 2 back on the PS2, like
Yeah,
way back
probably
when.
back way back in the day. I don't
Dude,
remember it.
so many things in this movie reminded me of that, especially, when he opens the locker and there's the naked woman poster. That's in, like, all the Metal Gear movies. You can
Hmm.
smoke cigarettes in Metal Gear Solid, just like this movie's all about cigarettes. It's more about, like, using, like, espionage and tactics as opposed to just going in there and shooting. I was like, "Yo, this is very similar."
That's
Oh, and the whole time in Metal Gear, you're, like, talking to somebody through, like, radio waves, just like he's talking to people, kinda filling them in. So I was like, "Yo, this is very similar to that series."
That's funny, the cigarette reference. Like, isn't there a scene when he like runs out of his own cigarettes and then he wastes the one guy, the blonde guy, the one that he pushed down the stairs, and then he pulls out his cigarettes and he's like, "Oh, thank God."
Carl's
Yeah.
brother,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
forgot
He's
his
the guy
name
who's like,
too.
I like that one scene though, because that's like classic action movie where like the gun is never loaded and they do it for the little hype up. Remember when he
Yeah.
thinks he's around the barrier and he's like, "I promise I won't hurt you," and at the last second he slaps the bolt home and I'm like, oh, now it's loaded. That's
Yeah.
like the classic, like charging the shotgun right before.
Well, I love that too, because yeah, that guy shoots. Clearly, he's like, "I won't hurt you," but then shoots right and goes around
Yeah,
the corner. John
yeah,
McClane
yeah. I love
has
that.
why doesn't he just kill him then? He's like, "No, this guy's clearly gonna kill me." But then he, like, talks to him for a second, and then they get in a fist fight and fall down the stairs. It's like, dude, just shoot him. You have a gun to
Well,
his
it's
head.
I think that scene's interesting because like you can tell like the guy's he thinks he's wise and he's not going to fall for any tricks, but then he gets stumped because he thinks he's behind the barrier and then he's looking around. But then the guy, you think it's going to be like a long drawn out fight, and he dies by falling down a flight of stairs in
Yeah.
like 30 seconds.
Yeah, and,
And
like
he has like small feet too. I like that they add that in there.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, I killed the one terrorist with foot smaller than my sister.
This guy looks like he's 6'7" with like size 6 feet. Like,
Yeah,
well, I
but I
like
like how he knows like he has a lot of skill. He didn't just kill the guy. He's checking his ID, and then he checked his everything that he was wearing. So later on, when he was like debriefing the cops, he's like, I could tell these guys are European based on their cigarettes and their clothing labels. That's pretty cool. They need to check for that.
yeah, like they're like top notch terrorists.
and they do a good job too of like, because that's how he convinces Powell that he kind of knows what he's talking about. He's like, he knows about fake IDs and stuff. And then that other cop from the Breakfast Club is just like, he could be a fucking bartender. So it kind of makes you think like, oh shit,
Yeah,
like
I
maybe,
said I have a hunch.
yeah.
He's a
yeah,
cop.
yeah. A hunch, things he said.
Yeah, but then it's
A
weird because it
hunch.
shows the chain of command. It's like, okay, so Powell believes him because he saw it first. Then that cop from the Breakfast Club comes up, and then he starts to believe him when the FBI comes there and starts making shitty decisions. So it's like everybody's kind of like involved in the scenario as it goes up the
Yeah,
chain of commands.
I hate those FBI guys. They try to sound so cool. They just like walk up and they're just like, huh, sounds like we got a Whiskey Bravo Hotel Echo Charlie situation. And you could tell the LAPD is like, what the hell are you saying?
Yeah. Do you think this was from this movie, or was this a cliche even before this when it's just like we're in charge here, just like not anymore,
Oh
you know?
yeah, and
Yeah,
oh my god, we need more movies that say like the mayor's gonna have my ass. I heard
Yeah.
that at one
yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah. That is like the hierarchy I always saw in movies. Like, you look at like, I know it's a dumb movie, like Rush Hour, it's like you got the LAPD, and then at some point the FBI comes in and just takes over. Like that's the classic hierarchy I see in movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right though, Eric. That like love connection between
Oh,
like Al
also
and
it's like a
John.
New York cop and a LA cop, and it's like ooh. I just there's
Mm.
so much. It's a bromance movie. It's a bro movie.
Kind of. It like kind of really
Yeah.
is. Yeah, it's so yeah, but I like his intro scene too, where he's just, like, going to get all those packaged donuts. That, clerk gives him a lot of shit. He's like, "Yeah, sure they are, buddy." It's just like,
Yeah. I
Okay,
thought you guys just ate donuts.
yeah, it's just like, "Oh, it's from my
Uh,
wife." It's like, "Okay." It's just like, "She's pregnant?" It's like, "Well, sure." It's like, fuck you, I'm a cop?" Like,
yeah, it's like,
I
can
never
all
really
right, step
understood that
outside,
scene.
sir. Like he
Like
abuses his
his wife
power
actually was pregnant, but he was clearly buying those for him. But
with Urkel, apparently.
and then I like the little connection later where he's just like, "These Twinkies, what are in these?" And he knows exactly what they are because he eats that kinda shit. I'm like, there's a lot of little layers here that work.
that even bleeds over into Die Hard 2. There's a scene where he faxes Powell something, and he calls him. He's like, "Hey, put that Twinkie down and check out that fax I sent you." And sure as shit, the guy's eating a Twinkie in his office.
See,
Yeah,
that's what makes characters strong. Like, even if they're, like, side characters, having those little connections, you're like, "Ah, I love this. I love it."
Yeah,
I've
he
read
played
there's
a
an
minor role in the sequel, but you're like, "Oh, it's Powell." Yeah, because you grow to like him, obviously, because he's the
Mhm.
only one. He's like the only guy gunning for John with all the other dudes. He's like, "Hey, John, I got you, man."
Yeah.
Yeah. There's this crazy article somewhere about Powell and like how, he's an LA cop, but he's in Ghostbusters too, and he's also eating
Oh
there's
yeah,
the Twinkie in Ghostbusters they go into.
Mhm.
Like
yeah.
that's a big Twinkie, and then he goes to LA, and then there's like a huge like fan theory how he's just like all like messed up from all the shit that happened with like the paranormal stuff in Ghostbusters to the crazy stuff, in Die Hard, and that he like imagines this middle ground family in Chicago, which is like Urkel, and it's just like what is like it's a crazy
That's
fan
interesting.
theory, but it was very funny to read.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's got the guy from Ghostbusters also, he just always plays the asshole in every movie, that red-haired, journalist guy. He's also
Oh yeah,
he's like the EPA guy in
Oh,
Ghostbusters, like, "Shut it down," and he's like that guy. He's always playing
yeah,
right,
the EPA.
yeah,
right. I forgot about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
He's the guy who Bill Murray's like. He's like, we didn't want to shut it down, but Dickless over here made us do it. He's like, you caused an explosion. Like, he's the guy who I like that scene when he's on the phone, and then all of a sudden over the radio, it's like, police officer needs assistance, and then it cuts into Powell going like, "I'm at Nakatomi Plaza. They're turning my car into Swiss cheese."
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great one.
Like,
I know, I
I
love
they
it.
also I
probably
also
they
like
play that over the radio for urgency.
adding to the super bromance that is this movie is like with a scene where like John McClane's taking the glass out of his foot and Powell hears that he's in pain, so he's gonna tell him the story about like how he shot a kid in LA and that's
Yeah.
why he's walking the beat and
Yeah.
things aren't as good anymore. And it's like, why are
Mhm.
you telling me this like really deep story? It's like, because we're bros, bro. We're bros. And
Yeah.
like
And then at the
but
end, he, like, learns how to shoot again when he saves
no,
the
but
day.
dude, I was just gonna say, and honestly, it took him like 5 or 6 shots to take Carl down, and
Yeah.
the first shot is like on the edge of his shoulder. It's a terrible shot.
Yeah, he clips him
So,
in the shoulder, and then
yeah. So I'm like, hey,
yeah,
he's really not that great of a shot.
No, he's like
Okay, like,
probably
he's a
it's
lot
been a
taller than
while.
what I'm used to shooting, so
yeah, oh my god,
Like that's like such an 80s cop thing. John, he has like his 9 millimeter, it's automatic, and he's just like wasting guys and changing magazines really fast. And then Powell's the cool guy, laid back cop, and he's got the revolver. It's kind of like in Lethal Weapon.
Oh,
Mel
yeah.
Gibson had that
yeah.
same gun actually as John McClane, and he was just shooting, shooting, shooting. And then Danny Glover's like, "Hey man," he's got this like cowboy 6 shooter going. It's like, I
Mm.
prefer to be a little more relaxed. And then John McClane, and then we're just shooting, shooting, shooting.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's more like the reserved cop and the wild yeah, because Mel Gibson's crazy in that movie. He's just like, "I'll shoot
Yeah,
anybody, I'll fight anybody." Yeah.
but John McClane too. He's going crazy with it.
Yeah,
I like the ending actually when he's been through everything. It's the part where not to jump too far, but when he remember when he tapes the gun to his back,
Oh, yeah.
oh,
but he
best
he
scene.
checks. He's like, "Oh, I only got 2 rounds left. I better make sure I hit him."
Yeah.
That's a
I
crazy
thought
part.
that Hans, did something more for some reason because I was like, "Alright, clearly, shoots a guy in the head, his wife ducks," and I was like, "Fuck, I feel like there's one more time where Hans, like, grabs him or something like that," but I love it,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, I don't really remember the episode that well, but it's, The Movies That Made Us Netflix documentary. They did an episode about this movie, and
Mm.
apparently when, Alan Rickman's character's falling, that was, like, a genuine expression because he didn't know
I
they were
heard
gonna
that. Yeah,
yeah.
like he like something about like he was super scared to do it or something, and then he finally did it, and it's like a green screen behind him, but that's an actual reaction.
Well, they, like, didn't tell him when they were gonna drop him. Yeah, so he was
Yeah,
like
something like
and
that. Yeah.
he was, like, really he was, like, prepared for a certain time, and then they just did it, and he was just like, "Fuck," like, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I heard
that's
that
They're just
recently.
saying
That's pretty
that.
cool.
Alan Rickman, if he was still alive, he'd be like, "No, that's not. No, I was acting.
that's not what
It
happened.
was acting. I remember. I recall it."
And
Yeah.
then you got the scene when McLean finds him. He's like, "What are you doing here? Huh? Who are you?" And he goes, "Oh, you're one of them, are you? Oh God."
That was so ridiculous. And he gives
Yeah.
him the gun that's not loaded.
It's out of there, or
His acting's so weird, he's like, "Do you smoke?" And he's like, yeah." Like, it's just it's so weird,
yeah.
but yeah, their little back and forth is so good too. It's just this, like, game of mental tennis, basically, just over the radio. I love it.
Hmm.
So Andrew, you said you had your favorite part is when you see Argyle in the car jamming out and having fun. Would you say that's your
Yeah.
favorite part?
Either that or the part where he puts the plastic explosive on the office chair and dumps it down the elevator shaft.
Classic,
Oh, yeah.
classic.
Yeah.
Alex, do you have a favorite part? Because I got a favorite part.
I do actually. My favorite part is when he has to use the, fire extinguisher or the hose, and he jumps off, and he shoots the fucking window as he smashes through, and then the thing falls down. I'm like, "Yo, this is
That sucks. That's so
non"
Yeah.
scary.
dude,
That's
my
so
feet were sweating so bad, and I love that scene. That felt like a video game. He bounces off the window, blows it up with the gun, and then flies in there. It was sick. Anyways,
yeah.
what's your
I,
favorite part, Eric?
all right, that is my point. My favorite part. I like the part where this is early on in the movie, like probably halfway through, when he goes to the roof to signal to make the call to the police with the walkie-talkie. He's on Channel 9, and he's like, "Mayday, mayday! We have 30 hostages. Tower, blah blah blah." And they're like, "Sir, this is for emergencies over." So what the fuck do you think? I'm ordering a pizza? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
he's like,
I
"They're
love that part.
fortifying their position while you're jerking me off on the radio."
Yeah, that's a great line. The pizza line is,
Does it sound like I'm ordering a fucking pizza?
yeah.
Like all Bruce Willis. I love it.
No, that was
Yeah.
first of all, those people would get in so much trouble if they didn't take that seriously. Like, that guy's like, "Fucking arrest me, I don't give a shit, just help me." Like,
Yeah,
yeah, he really
he's doing whatever he can. He tries to get the fire department there. He's like, yeah, come on, I'll put your fucking Dalmatian. And then they turn around and he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. They also do a lot of, like, I don't know, just kind of like digs at America, but it's also kind of like kinda true some aspects about, like, this, like, lone action hero who's kinda just, like, against the odds, but pulls through in the end by the skin of his teeth kinda thing.
Yeah, and gets the girl back and goes riding off into the sunset with Argyle in the limo.
Yeah, like, the whole
Yeah.
time, Hans is kind of, like, putting him down. He's like, "You a bankrupt culture," and, like, all of this shit, and, like, really shitting on America, yippee-ki-yay, all that stuff.
You're like John Wayne.
Yeah, and then he
What's
comes
your
in,
last name?
"I'm not gonna ride off in the sunset," but then he
That was
actually
Gary
does.
Cooper.
No, yeah, no, but then he does. He really does, so it's just like,
Yeah.
"Motherfucker, I got you."
Yeah. There we go. John
America
McClane.
always squeaking by, baby.
That's one part of the movie that's ridiculous. Oh yeah, you're gonna let him drive off? He just assaulted a cameraman. All the shit else happened. It's like, sir, you're under a heavy federal investigation starting
Yeah.
right now. You're not going anywhere with Argyle. And Argyle, you're coming with us too, and your wife. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just let him
Yeah,
leave.
yeah, yeah,
yeah, they're
yeah.
just
It's
going.
like,
Where are they gonna go? Like, they're so
yeah.
getting get picked off.
Yeah, not to get lame, but it's like real life. It's like the owner of the building's coming after you, like, all right, well, you owe me, $5 million in property damage, and
Yeah.
No,
all
exactly.
Well,
that.
even
Yeah,
before that, they're like, sir, this limo is not safe to operate on a highway. You can't leave." It's just like, "Alright, fuck." Like,
yeah.
that's where the credits
Argyle's
start rolling.
boss. Argyle's boss. You were supposed to return that limo 6 hours ago. Man, you wouldn't believe what happened. I don't give a shit. You're fired. Wait, you're not even gonna let me explain?
It's like, "No, my limo is destroyed. You're fucking fired."
Yeah.
Uh, I also like when they finally open up the hydraulic safe and then Ode to Joy starts to play.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
It's
Mm.
so good. I was expecting like diamonds or something. It's like these paper bonds. It's like, oh, it's not that exciting. But then you see it at the end, like falling from the sky. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like Christmassy.
Yeah.
It's like it's snowing now. It's like, okay.
$100,000 bonds falling.
Yeah. No, I
Oh my
really
God.
it's nonstop action. The one thing is I thought maybe I'm crazy. I thought there was a scene where he walked on the glass, like he walks on it.
Yeah,
He does.
yeah,
That's why he
doesn't
was
he?
pulling it out of his foot.
Yeah, but we don't see
They're
it.
in a gunfight, and they can't exactly shoot him directly. So Hans tells one of his guys to, what's his name, the guy at the end who dies. Anyway, he
Carl.
tells him to shoot the glass so it lands on
Yeah.
the ground, and he has to run through it.
But we never see him walk through the glass.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, he runs through it.
He runs right through it.
Fuck, I don't know. In my mind, I had it built up that it was like this, like emotional, like like he's like walking through it, like hot coals kind of thing. I don't know why I thought that was happening, but yeah, him picking it out, I was like, yo,
Yeah.
he's not walking for weeks.
Oh,
after
he's
that.
done. He's done. Also, I like that the whole point of him not having socks and shoes is that one asshole from the airport that's like, make fists with your feet on the carpet and stuff. And it's like that's the whole reason he has to walk on glass in the end. Is like he probably hates
Yeah,
that
because
guy.
it just kicks off while he's doing it.
Well, he gets the shoes, and then yeah, they don't fit because they are small, and he's just like, Jesus, this guy can't catch a break at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite scenes though is the classic when he's in the AC ducting and he lights the Zippo and he's just kind of like looking around. That quote that he says, like, "Come out to the cars, we'll get together, have a few laughs." Like to this day, I will say that quote sometimes in like a public space, and it's one of those things where like 90% of the people have no idea what you're talking about, but if there's one guy in the room who knows what it is, he's got you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's like, I'm buying this guy a beer.
He's like, dude, did you just say that? And I'm like, yeah.
That's so
Classic.
true. Yeah, if you say a very obscure reference, people get it. You're like, all right, we're of the same tribe. I
Just
like you.
references in general. Like I remember, I swear to God, one time I was in public and I don't remember what happened, but I heard someone go with the scene when he shoots through the table. I was out somewhere and I heard someone go, "What are you gonna do now? No more table." And I was like, "Yo, this dude, yes."
With the deep cut.
That's
Yeah, he's like,
awesome.
"No more
hard cut.
table. Next
No
time
more
you have a
table."
chance to kill someone, don't hesitate."
This is why I miss you, Andrew. You bring that spark of reference back to my life. I need it.
Aw.
Yeah, you get the real
Yeah.
deep cuts.
Deep cuts, dude.
That's a great scene. That's when he shoots through the table and he's like, "Thanks for the advice."
Yeah. Yeah, so many
Okay.
like one-liners that are like it reminds me of like Raphael from the Ninja Turtles or something. The one scene I kind of want to know too, because we see glimpses of McClane and his wife fighting, like, in the beginning. But that scene where I think it's Carl comes out and like slams his fist, and someone's like, wow, that guy's really pissed. And it's like, John's
Mm.
still alive. It's like, wow, only if John can make someone that angry. It's like, what was their relationship like?
Probably not that great. Yeah. Probably
I
not
feel like
that
Steve
great.
didn't help either.
But that Christmas party in general was kind of off the rails. Like you walk in one room, people are having sex. You walk in another, guys doing rails of cocaine. It's like, what is up with
You
this
forgot
Christmas
about. We got to
party?
talk about that idiot, Willis, or whatever.
Ellis?
He's
Ellis,
like,
Ellis.
yeah, Ellis. He's like, John, how could you say that after all these years? Tries to be the big hero, but I like the scene, like you're saying, when he walks in and he's brushing the coke off the desk. He's like, "Oh, hey," and John looks at him. He knows, but he just doesn't feel like dealing with it because he's supposed to be on
Yeah.
vacation. He's like,
You,
"You missed some." He's
you
like,
missed some, yeah.
"Yeah."
But then remember Hans could tell too, because Hans, what does he give him? He gives him a Coke.
Oh.
So I think that was a little like this guy's on Coke. Sequel idea. I mean, Carl, he didn't really have to come out and be like, guns a blazing. He could have just hid.
What was his plan? There was so many
He should have
police
stuck with
officers.
the original plan. He should have been like, "Oh, I have everyone thinks I'm dead. Even John McClane thinks I'm dead."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he could have had the easiest escape.
You're
But he's
right.
like, you know what? It's like, there's like 700 cops out there. What are you doing?
You're
dude?
right.
What are you
He
doing?
was
Because that
probably
would've
just
been-
hoping to take John out, and he knew he wasn't going to make it. But he's like, if I can just take him with me.
That was it, Andrew. He just wanted to take him out with him.
Yeah.
That would have been an amazing sequel idea, though, is if he just was like,
Carl's
I'm going to
return.
lay low. I didn't die. He killed my brother. He fucked up the plan. Like, I'm going to get him back in the sequel. That would have been a great idea.
But
kinda-
Die Hard 2 is fantastic, and
It is good, but it's kind of weird how they did it. Like, I could be wrong, but I think Die Hard 2 is just like a completely different
plane.
scenario.
It's
And
the
then Die
plane
Hard
and-
3 is when they finally make reference back to 1 because it's when
Yes.
his brother,
Yes.
his
Yeah.
brother's there. So you're like, but 2 is good. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't really have anything to do with, what happened. But I think it's like he's coming home from his trip and then that happens.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I want to ask you guys, too. The bad guy in the third one is Jeremy Irons, who's another British actor like Alan Rickman and their brothers, in this movie. They couldn't find a German actor. They, like, only found British actors to play German actors in both of these. I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting.
I mean, I just think that in general is like cool with actors. Like I remember the first time I saw Black Hawk Down with Eric Bana, and he's like this special forces operator, and he's like, "Hey man, it's just war. It ain't. That's all it is, man." He's got like this southern accent, and then I heard his voice in real life, and he's what is he, Australian or British? he's got like a thick Australian or British accent. I'm like, holy crap, he goes from that to like a guy from Texas in that movie. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, no, that's what they
Alec,
do.
those actors, Alec.
Changing our voices, doing crazy shit. Well, Andrew, I guess we're gonna wrap it up in a minute, but do you have a favorite action movie?
Oh, jeez.
I know it's a broad question, but
You know, honestly, I'm gonna say this one only because it's like so classic to my heart watching it when I was a kid, and it just reminds me of like the '90s. Terminator 2: Judgment Day.
Oh yeah,
oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're doing
there's
that
just
one.
that's
something
one of my
about it. It
that's one
just
of my all-time favorite movies. Probably we're gonna do
it's
that
not
one
only the
very
movie
soon.
itself, it just reminds me of like the timing of when I first saw it, like early mid '90s. Like life was just good back then.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I feel like Eric and I feel the exact same way. That was my first R-rated movie I'd ever seen, was
Yeah,
Terminator.
Probably
same,
mine too.
same. You
Yeah.
can't go around killing people. Why?
God, so good.
Because you can't. Why? Because you just can't. Okay.
I remember one time I saw the whole movie with like the deleted scenes, and I'm like, nope, don't like it, don't like
Yeah,
it.
I like the
I like
yeah.
the one that you ever do that in a movie where you see the deleted scenes and you're like, I don't want to know. It kind of ruins it for me.
Yeah, it's more like with the dog Woofy or and stuff. They had like other scenes. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Star Wars sometimes. A lot of added
Yep.
shit. You're like, what the fuck is this?
Get this out of here.
I
Yeah.
know. Andrew, thank you so much, man.
Anytime. Classic.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah. Well, we have a wheel to spin, Eric.
Oh, I forgot.
We have the action wheel to choose our next movie.
Oh, you guys do it on the episode, huh?
Yeah, we do.
We keep it real.
Yeah, doing it live, literally.
No, we really do.
Spinning. Oh yeah. Point Break.
Oh, oh boy. All right, Bodie. Let's get this
Really?
going. You've seen that, Andrew?
I'm familiar with that movie, yeah.
All right. Thanks again, Andrew, and we will see everybody on Thursday for Point Break.